Good evening, everyone. Folks, on behalf of Musicians Institute, it is my honor to welcome you to this very special celebration of the life of Mr. Shibuya. To all of our outside guests and our Campus Hollywood family members, thank you for joining us here at MI as we all come together to honor a truly remarkable individual. And whether you knew Mr. Shibuya as a friend, a colleague, a mentor, or a boss, I think everyone in this room who knew him would all agree that he was truly a very unique soul who impacted all of us in such a very profound way. His influence was absolutely undeniable. My name is Todd Berhorst, and I've worked for Mr. Shibuya for over 20 years in the Campus Hollywood School Division in various capacities. And through those experiences, I learned a lot about Mr. Shibuya. I learned that he wasn't just a simple entrepreneur, but a visionary who, in his own very special way, inspired creativity, motivation, and if you worked for him long enough, he provided a tremendous amount of incredible work opportunities. Mr. Shibuya possessed an unparalleled ability to see opportunity and potential for growth in everything that he did, and it permeated through our entire organization. And what I recognized very early on in my employment was that his personal dedication to his businesses and his employees was simply unmatched. He never wavered in his commitment and responsibilities to protect the people that work for him, and he protected the mission of Campus Hollywood. He was just a type of person who turned challenges into opportunities, and regardless of how bad things got, and sometimes they got bad, he refused to give up, regardless of that cost. And most of the people that work for him will never know the personal and financial sacrifices that he made to keep the Campus Hollywood group alive and thriving. And that dedication and unwavering passion for his work and for his community will, I think, be a lasting part of his legacy that will never be forgotten. And that, folks, is what we are here to celebrate together. And I'm forever grateful to Mr. Shibuya for his support in providing purpose to my life. And I'm thankful for this opportunity to celebrate his journey and to say goodbye, surrounded by people who cared about him most. So I want to thank everyone for being here and sharing in this incredible moment. And I would like to ask for an enthusiastic round of applause in the memory of Mr. Shibuya. That was tough. That slideshow got me. It's a privilege to introduce you to someone who worked alongside Mr. Shibuya for many, many years. A man that we all know and love. Please help me welcome Mr. Tak Sakimoto to the stage.
Good evening. Oh, thank you, Todd. Mr. Shibuya is someone I have known for last 20, 25 years. And I came to Hollywood and I started a job. And the first interview I had about an hour. And Mr. Hayakawa was there and interviewed the first time. I spoke myself 5 minutes, and the rest of the hour, he just talked about whole life in Hollywood in the United States, and it was the first time I met him. Then since then, I have learned a lot from Mr. Shibuya in the business and also personal lives. And I just wanted to share one episode I had just a couple of days ago happened. One of the things I learned from him, when you have some business negotiations or any negotiations in your life, someone give you, well, here's the conditions, here's the terms. Well, do you want to spend a week or 2 weeks to think about it? And Mr. Shibuya always said, well, it doesn't matter how long you spend, a week, a month, you always come back to the first instinct. And that's how I remembered a couple of days ago. Oh yeah, he said that. So I said, well, no, I don't need a week. We can just talk about next week. So everyday life, I still use his philosophies and things I learned from a lot. So let's take a look at some of the video we have from the interview at NAMM show. A few years back, he was recognized as one of the leading person in the music industry, and received the award from NAMM.
50年前の大阪であったクリスチャン・クルセードの聖歌隊のメンバーでした。で、その後、ぐれまして、バッドボーイになって、たまたま、京都の赤十字社の幹部をしてる方が、私の姿を見てて、父親に手紙を書いた。あなたの息子はこのままだとマフィアになるんじゃないかという意味の手紙を書かれた。ポストを作ったから私に全てを任してほしいという手紙でした。に心配かけるのは良くないと。だから私は東京で仕事を探して東京へ行きますということを言った。そしたらその方が今のお金で2万ドルぐらいのお金を僕にくれる。それで普通列車で、東京へ来て、安いホテルに泊まりながら新聞広告で可愛い楽器が募集してるのを知った。で、その時に、もし、自分のそばに音楽があったら、まともな人生を生けるんじゃないかなと思って、可愛い楽器を応募したわけです。当時、ヨタモンの音楽、不良と言われてたエレキギターを担当させたということです。それで4年間いて喧嘩して辞表を出したということですね。辞めたと。もうどうしようもない経済的に言うときに、お茶の水っていう駅で、ミュージックトレードの社長にぱったり会ったということですね。いや、何してるって言ったら食えなくて困ってると言ったら、よし、2ヶ月後に ヤマハが中途採用を大量に採用するから、お前受けてみろ。で、360人受けて、私が63番だったと思います。で、採用人員は30人だったんです。やはり、学科試験0点でも入れてみせるというのは事実、そういうことで入れてもらった。小さいマーケットだけど、生き延びることのできる分野があるということで、独立の準備に入ったわけです。
To also introduce his bio after this story. So when he started his business 1975, established ESP electric sound products in Tokyo to build high-end electric guitars and to train repair technicians, and purchased the headquarters building in Tokyo and established ESP Technical House and started to sell bodies, necks for electric guitars and supply fully custom-made system of electric guitars as the first in Japan. And he always talked about, has to be first and has to be happening. In 1980s, he opened the U.S. office in New York, Shibuya Enterprise Company Limited, and established manufacturing facility in Nagoya in Tokyo, Nagoya in Japan, and Japan Guitar Craft Academy, bring up and train craftsmen, and started the business with Seymour Duncan, established ESP Europe, Germany, established music school, Japan Creative Music School, and Japanese piano tuner training academies. So those times he started the going into education. In 1980s, opened a guitar shop, 48 custom guitars in New York, and some of you guys knew that. Mr. Hayakawa was there too. Integrated all the music related to schools and renamed them ESP Musical Academy in Japan. And opened in Tokyo, vintage guitar shop, old guitar garage, violin shop, Mario, Lucy, wind instrument shop, grants and music shop, Big Boss Tokyo. And later 1990s purchased the US guitar brand Schecter and opened Sunset Custom Guitars on Sunset Boulevard in California. Established ESP China in China, established publishing company, artist management publishing, publication and music software production company Avinos, established Kiso Violin Craft Academy in Kiso, Fukushima, Nagano. And 90s, purchased the U.S. Music School Musicians Institute here. It was 1994. And also purchased broadcasting station UTV, United Television Broadcasting, and is the late 90s, and established training school UTV Academy in Japan. And also purchased a special makeup school, Elegance International, and after training school, Theater Bars here, and opened Theater Bars Japan as well. And in Japan, opened 13th location in big box retail music retail stores, and expanded MI ESP Guitar School into 5 new cities in Japan, and opened new Tokyo factory in Saitama to expand production capability, acquired ownership of Los Angeles College of Music in Pasadena. So as you can see, there's so many expansions and visions he had in his business. And last 30 years, over 30 years he spent in his country, and this is how he has accomplished. And there's so many other things he has really, we haven't seen it. And when we ask every single person in this room, everybody has their own memory and own vision of Mr. Shibuya. So I'd like to introduce some of the interview footage we have from a couple people here talks about memory of Mr. Shibuya. And after that, we'd like to start open mic. So if whoever would like to say a word, please come share with us your memories of Mr. Shibuya.
Hello, my name is Matt Masiandaro, and I'm president of ESP Shibuya, also known as the ESP Guitar Company USA. Now, a lot's been said in recent days and weeks about the life and the many accomplishments of Mr. Shibuya, but I'd like to tell a slightly more personal story about my time working for him. I was hired in 1987 in New York City, and there were about 6 of us in a loft on 19th Street. And to say we were barely keeping the lights on at that time is pretty accurate. About 2 years after I was hired, the gentleman that hired me left the company. And Mr. Shibuya sent 2 gentlemen over from ESP Japan, and they took me to lunch. And during the lunch, they said to me, "Matt, you're in charge now." And when you're young, you don't really know what you don't know or what you can't do. So I just dived right in. And thanks to the unwavering support, his belief in our small team, and his vision for the company, Mr. Shibuya, we were able to turn things around. Took a while, but we did it. Now, fast forwarding a couple of decades to 2024, I last saw Mr. Shibuya in April when I was visiting him in Tokyo. And I started to talk about those early days, and right away he cut me off. He said, "Don't think about the past, think about the future." So wise words from a wise man. And on behalf of myself and all the other people that were given the opportunity to work for the ESP group, I'd like to pass along a very sincere thank you to Mr. Shibuya, and we'll be thinking of you often. Thank you.
I'd like to express my sincere condolences to the family of Mr. Shibuya and also take this opportunity to share a few brief stories and expressions of appreciation. I remember the first time I met Mr. Shibuya in 1994. He was taking a tour of the McCadden building, and I crossed paths with him and also a group of people up on the 3rd floor. Secretly, I was eavesdropping, and because I speak a little bit of Japanese, I was able to figure out what he was saying. He was talking about how excited he was about MI and that he thought it was the world's most famous music school and that he really must buy it. And of course, it's a good thing that he did, since he saved the school, I think. It had been struggling financially at the time, and it's not a stretch to say that he saved it from going out of business and all the faculty losing their jobs too. He brought with him various management ideas and business practices and experiences from Japan that were very, very different from the original culture of MI back in 1977, but it also meant there were some growing pains and many changes would occur over those 30 years that he owned the school. I really appreciate that Mr. Shibuya was an iconoclast. He followed his own ideas and his directions, and he was a tough boss, but he also knew how to channel his instincts and his own business vision. Clearly, that manifested itself with his creation of several extremely successful companies like ESP and Schecter Guitars. And starting in the year 2000, I was honored to have the opportunity to serve as the department chair of the guitar department, known as GIT here at MI for about 10 years. That was really the start of me working more directly in a managerial relationship with Mr. Shibuya. And over these last 24 years, I've had a few different job titles and responsibilities. And while I didn't always see eye to eye with Mr. Shibuya on his management style, I'm also very grateful that I eventually did earn his trust and strong support over the years. And as a result, he was very kind to me. He also did things that were very generous towards others without taking credit. What comes to mind for me immediately is that he personally bankrolled the entire cost of the MI faculty and alumni reunion back in 2012, in addition to many memorable staff and faculty parties at his house and other opportunities for staff and faculty to travel to Japan. And while I picture Mr. Shibuya in my mind, when I do, it's often how he beamed with pride about MI and about his very successful guitar companies, his music schools in Japan, his other business and so forth, but also really the pride he had in MI, especially when it was acknowledged by the city of Los Angeles. And he also had incredible self-confidence to dress like a rocker late into his life. Ultimately, there's no doubt that his legacy and his influence on thousands, many thousands of students, guitar players, musicians and others is profound. Mr. Shibuya, rest well. I'd like to just say once again, thank you for all you did for MI and for the music world. Arigatou gozaimashita.
Here to celebrate Mr. Shibuya's life, so I will leave this microphone open to anyone who would like to say a word. And rest of the time, please enjoy sushi. And Mr. Shibuya always liked sushi, and he wanted to have maybe yakiniku, but unfortunately we didn't get a yakiniku tonight. But please enjoy sushi and have a good time. Thank you.
I moved out from New Orleans. I got a job at Mr. Shibuya's Sunset Custom Guitar Store with Tetsu and Shigeki, who were back there, actually dressed in suits. I'm not quite sure how Mr. Shibuya would feel about that. But yeah, I was just a kid that moved from New Orleans, a guitar player that was, trying to get a record deal and all that stuff. He moved to Hollywood for as a musician. Was working at the store with Makoto, and Toshi was down the street at ESP, and met Mr. Shibuya there. I was just the long-haired guy. I think he always thought I was a little strange, but I think that resonated and connected with him. I think he kind of liked the whole rebel aspect that Schecter took. It certainly wasn't always successful. Mark and I were just sitting over there kind of reminiscing about the meetings we used to have, and he'd come in, we'd actually sit on the floor in a circle. We shared an office with ESP, and none of this is about money, but I think between the two companies, we were doing about $100,000 in sales collectively in a month. And I think last month, both companies did 6 or 7 million combined, which I think would make him really happy. That I guess the point of that is he stuck with us. I think Talk said that it was never. He never raised his voice about that, did about other things, just not that. It was always, keep working, keep coming with ideas, innovate. And I think that really stuck with me. I had no background in business. I was just a freaking guitar player that happened to be at the right place. And he said, I think at that point, the guy that was running Schecter was helping Mr. Shibuya deal with purchasing MI, and Mr. Shibuya wanted that school, like, no matter. And I was kind of the guy standing, and I think Toshi came down and said, Mr. Shibuya, just like with Matt, said, you run it like it's your own company. And I'll never forget his confidence and just belief in us. And it certainly, my family will never forget him. It allowed me to put my wife and I to put both of our kids through college. And, it's just a belief in somebody that didn't have a business degree. And I think looking at some of his history here, I think he just kind of came from the ground up. And, he always, I think, admired Schecter's hard work and just kind of pushing it that way. And, I never forget the guy. Something just always we'll continue this for him. This is his legacy, and I think he would be really proud that I think Schecter and ESP are talked about in the same breath now as Fender and Gibson and Ibanez. And I think when you look at the two companies being together, and I think now we're a lot more together than we used to be in years past. We're right, we're up there, top 3, top 4, depending how you add it up. And I'd like to think that he's smiling down on us right now. So, thank you. You got anything you want to add to this?
I don't have too much more to add to that, to be quite honest. it's been a great experience here. We were talking about the first days we met him, and he terrified me on that first moment that I met him. But he was a very, very kind and gracious man who allowed two guys who looked like this to take this company and turn it into what we did. He never asked questions. He never held us to any standard that was too strict. He allowed us to dream and create this company, and it's been quite incredible that he actually gave us that that much leeway to make this company what it was. It was very small when we got there. I think it was Shigeki and Tetsu, Michael and myself and one other person at the time, and now we're 50 plus people. So there's days we go, it's incredible what he's given us, the opportunity, the perseverance that he had to allow us to do all this. And as Mike said, I think he had these two separate companies. He pitted us against each other every now and then, and it was tough for sometimes, but he loved to see that rivalry and see us both succeed. And I think the things I'll always remember was just how proud he was of that. He really was, and made us proud that we took his companies, made them extremely successful, and we saw that, and he beamed when he would come to NAMM. You knew he just wanted to be there so he could show off his accomplishments, and we were just grateful to have 2 minutes of that and be a part of that entire process. So I thank him personally. I know our staff does, my family does. So we're very grateful to have been in his orbit. So thank you very much.
Hi. You guys heard of my name several times. I am Toshi. I knew him 40 years, more than 40 years. And then I like share the one episode. This Shibuya's strong personality, not personality, but the responsibility for the young people. Every 2 years we had in Japan. This is happened in Japan. Every 2 years we had the music fair in Tokyo. It's held on the Tokyo Science Museum, and then every the music manufacturer get together, just like a mini size of the NAMM show, and then we have the special guest, and the Loudness, 1980 Loudness, the big the heavy metal band, and we have the concert in the downstairs basement of the small concert halls, and we thought it's a music fair, and the Loudness fan not coming, maybe not coming. We are not underestimated how many people show up, and then the times comes, and there are hundreds, the kids coming into their small hall rooms. And we can't control by ourselves. So, the Mr. Shibuya said, putting those 6 foot, the table, both sides, stop the people coming into the concert halls. But it's pushing, everyone pushing, because of the kids, young kids, heavy metal kids, it's long hair, it's very aggressive kids coming into the stairway. So all of a sudden, Mr. Shibuya stand on the 6 foot the tables and screaming, "Stop! You get killed!" He had very strong voice and then demanding voice, and the 100 kids just stopped get into their hall rooms. So that's very, very the strong personality and strong voice, and also strong and very the generous for the people, especially young kids, taking care of, not get hurt, those things. It's just like a school teacher screaming and student, "Stop to the something wrong things." And then that was and one thing I was very, very surprised. No, no one does that stand on the 6 foot, the tables, and then the screaming kids to come down. It's a very, good, nice personality. And then since then, I was a little bit, try to learn how to speak to the people's, very effectively. So that's a small episode, and 40 years ago.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I heard a video was just played with me in it. I haven't seen it, but I don't have much more. I don't have much more I can add to that, but I will say that I mentioned in that video a couple of things about when ESP started in New York on 19th Street. And of those 6 or so people that were there, there's 2 of us here now. Where's Toshi? All right, there he is. Okay. 2 of the 6. Toshi looks the same as he did 30 years ago. Mike and Mark and I have a similar story in working with Mr. Shibuya. And very well said, guys, wherever you are. And one thing I'd like to reemphasize is one of the things I'm thankful for, and with Mr. Shibuya, is the opportunity that he gave me and so many other people. I know some people in this room agree. Yeah. Right, Mike? Sorry. And that's something that made our lives better and the lives of our families better. And it's something we'll always be thankful for. And I guess, I don't know. Oh, hi, Tish. Hi. Right. So who's up next? Doc?
Who's up next?
Who's up next? All right, thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Miles. By the way, we saw you and your wife Chieko-san at the wedding pictures.
Oh, you saw
earlier.
that? Yeah. So that
Okay. So. Hi everyone. It's so good to be back here. Where to start? Mr. Shibuya is, of course, my business mentor, as well as he's my dad as well too. I have 2 dads. How lucky I am. Started off with in a small office where Schechter and ESP shared. They're always fighting and cursing at each other. And Mr. Shibuya came in. He started yelling, and I was like, "What's going on?" But he gave me this. Yeah, that's not true. I made it up. No. But it was fun. He for some reason he trusted in me. I made so many mistakes doing accounting, and the man was generous to keep me there. One day, he said, "Coco, you graduate from here. You go to MI." I'm like, "What would I do? You figure it out." And he didn't even give me a title. He forced me into a situation where I had to figure things out, making connection. And then he taught me how important the people are. "Coco, treasure people, make a great connections, because those are the people who could help you in the future, but not to take advantage of the opportunity." He taught me being a human being, good human being, having an empathy. I used to be hot-headed when I was young and cocky. Oh, I don't want to hear it, because everybody has mother and father, family. Everybody's a person. Think about that. I still think about it, as well as, of course, somebody mentioned actions speak louder than the words. I read so many books because he said, read this, read this, read this. And then, oh, I understand about this business strategy. Mr. Shibuya, I started talking smart. I don't want to hear it. Just show me the figures. I mean, just sales, profits. That's all it matters. I don't care how long you work. Just show me the results. So that's what I still stick to today, that I can say, oh, I did this, I did that, but I think actions speak louder than word, and the people and having empathy. And he's still alive in my mind. I still think about his advice, business teachings, and being a good human being. So I am eternally thankful to him, and I miss him so much. And he's my father too. So, and good to be home here. So thank you.
I'm the director of Theatre of Arts. I only met him a few times. I think it was about 5 years ago. And he said, "You've got 1 month," and that was 5 years ago, so something went right. It was one of the oldest drama schools it's certainly in Los Angeles, and I think his legacy will be that the young actors that went through. He kept us alive a lot longer than we probably deserved to with what was going on. But it was just last week I just had the experience of young actors who were going out for the first time, and I just thought this has been worth it. This is what it's been about, and I'm just glad that he gave us that opportunity, like he gave many people an opportunity to keep it going. So thank you.
My name's Sky. Looking around the room, I see some faces from so long ago. It was 20 years ago that I worked for Mr. Shibuya for a couple of intense years, 2002 to 04. I came in kind of as his interpreter, weird right-hand man, and like a lot of people, he would throw people and he didn't care about your past. He just wanted to see what you could do now into a place where you were out of your depth and you had to perform. And there was so much opportunity in what he presented with people in terms of an opportunity to experiment with money, with a brand, to do something new, and to be in an entrepreneurial place that you hadn't expected yourself to be, and that was full of opportunity. He would talk a lot about the fact that his family was from Sado Island. It was an island that prisoners were essentially sent to, and that his ancestors were ne'er-do-gooders, not the best people, and that if he came from there, from this, generations of bad actors, and could do what he did, that he wanted everybody else to be able to do that as well. Same with Coco, I was kind of thrust into MI and ended up in student services, starting an internship program for recording, up in admissions, all over the place, and looking around and hearing people's stories tonight about them also being able to dip their toes in different roles and find their footing, and a lot of times to go from musician to businessman, but find a place of stability that's been great for them as individuals, and everybody collective is really an honor to kind of look at this 20 years later and see what he's created. I would visit him a lot at home. I had a lot of private moments with him, interpreting for him. He loved to pit ESP and Schecter against each other, by the way. I would sit in both of those meetings and chat with him after, and it was very intentional. And he was an orchestrator. He was an instigator a little bit. He liked to push buttons, talk shit, and he saw where there was incredible opportunity. He talked about starting a guitar company and realizing he didn't have enough people to make them. So I'm going to start a school, and he barely had enough money, but he realized when you start a school it multiplies. There's all these people, they bring tuition. Oh my God, it funded him just in time to keep the thing going. And there was always this thing about scaling his business where instead of becoming scared or looking for somebody else to solve it, he would reach out and figure out what that thing was and let it multiply his businesses. And he's done that here in Hollywood. I work at Japan House, which is also part of his enduring and legacy that he has here. So I'm sorry, it's just kind of sharing memories. I have nothing prepared, but it's really an honor to remember him. 20 years ago, I continued to visit him when I was in LA every year or two, and he was unwavering, always true to himself, full of life and vigor, and has had a very outsized place in my life that I'm honored to recognize today. So thank you.
Mr. Terasaka, former president of UTB, to speak on behalf of that television company. Since I don't see him, I decided that I'm going to be here on behalf of Mr. Terasaka, in a sense that over 30 years ago, I was actually going to buy UTB. And I've asked Mr. Shibuya, could you provide me with funding necessary to acquire the company? He said, okay, and he looked at it and he decided, Sano, you set aside that I'm going to be the one to buy the company. and there was no if or buts or anything that he said, get out of my sight. So I ended up having to be the advisor in Mr. Shibuya acquiring the television company. He took pity on me to a point that he decided to give me a position called vice chairman. That was the first time that I was given a position by him, vice chairman. And then several years ago, after 1 or 2 years later, I've gotten out of television company to a point of my own independent work itself, that Mr. Shibuya, I think at the age around 65 or so, suggested that I come back to a weekly meetings that Mike and quite a few others, Todd and everybody was around. And he introduced me to the group of executives, and he said, from here on, that he's going to be the vice chairman of the organization. Second time I got a position being the vice chairman of the organization. And then I'm, like Mr. Shibuya, I'm kind of rebellious. I have my own rules and guidances, and sometimes I I fight with Mr. Shibuya for the direction of company itself. So I quit. December 31st, about 5 years ago, I think. And then afterwards, about a year ago, was it? Mr. Shibuya suggested that I should come back to become an advisor of the organization itself. And since then, I'm working with Todd and groups of group of MI executives and Tak Sakimoto on the MI organization and Campus Hollywood itself. And I'm very honored to be able to really see the legacy that Mr. Shibuya has built. And I feel that even though I'm an advisor, I'll be feeling responsible for fulfilling my support to Todd and Tak in coming up with the prosperous MI itself. And I thank you for the opportunity itself. Thank you for Mr. Shibuya. I'm, however, not Mr. Shibuya's younger brother. And whenever I come to MI, many people think of me as Mr. Shibuya. And it's kind of strange, but I would try to be his ghost to possibly help Todd and Tak. Thank you.
I have one impressive memory about Mr. Shibuya. I don't prepare any script, but I just want to tell you what happened like 12 or 13 years ago. Mr. Tak Sakimoto and I were there. And I don't know if Mr. Sakimoto remembers about the event. But you know, I was in charge of Dosha Alumni Association as a chairman. Dosha University is the famous, one of the famous university in Japan. We say Japanese Stanford. I don't know if Mr. Sano agree or not. You know, Mr. Shibuya, Mr. Sano, myself are all from Doshisha University. And we have, US West region Alumni Association in LA. I was in charge of the Alumni Association as a chairman for 5 years. And at that time, there was an opportunity to invite Dean from the university, Koji Murata. He was supposed to stop by Campus Hollywood before having dinner. But our negotiation failed, and then the secretary said he is so busy and he has to fly to Germany next day, and then he cannot stop by campus Hollywood. And then I had to tell Mr. Shibuya about it through Mr. Sakimoto, and then Mr. Shibuya was really upset. Unfortunately, he's pissed off. And then, since then, he stopped communication with me, and I asked Mr. Sakimoto to make an appointment with him. And then I wanted to apologize to him. And then, at that time, his office was in front of the building, and his office is like a wooden cabin. You remember?
Yeah.
It's like very strange for me where he used the cabin as his office. He said, and somebody American executives insist they want to have office, his show his status, or try to be big. But I don't care. He said I just use this wooden cabin. And if you want to have an office, you can use this cabin. And then nobody said yes. That was his strategy. And then, and I apologized to him. Sorry, what happened, but Dean Marta was not able to stop by campus Hollywood. And he was preparing to give some generous offer, like, inviting internship, and then, make some donation to the university. And because the dean was not able to stop by, his generous offer was not able to be achieved. Then he was so upset. And then at that time, I thought he gonna be okay and forgive me, but really upset. And then he said, I don't want to see I don't want to see you anymore. Why you came to see me? I don't want to see your dirty face. And then I was shocked. I was freaking out at the time. He yelled at me, really, you remember? Yeah, and Mr. Sakimoto was also like pale. And then he stopped speaking. And then, and I was so freaking out because he, his appearance, his skinhead, and then black sunglasses, black jacket, and I thought, first time I met him, I thought he's Japanese Yakuza. I was not able to talk with him for a while, but I had to talk with him because I was a chairman of Dosha Alumni Association. And then, so I thought, he was really upset. I decided to leave his office, and then he said, you should not come again. I don't want to see you anymore. And then I was shocked, and I was so depressed. And then I asked Mr. Sakimoto to have some coffee at the kitchen in the campus Hollywood building. And then we talked, and the Sakimoto-san also, he thought Mr. Shibuya is very upset. And then, I wanted to figure out how I can make a relationship again. And then, I thought I would not be able to see Mr. Shibuya in my life again. And during our conversation, he came to see us. Remember? And he said to me, Sakoda, thank you for coming. I was, oh my God. He was not really upset. And he intentionally tried to teach me like that way. And then I thought he has a big heart and very generous. And then he has a, love. I felt his love at the time. And then since then, I started admiring him a lot. And then still, he's a legend in the association. And then I never seen such a great guy in my life. And he is still alive in my mind. And our alumni association members will never forget about him. So he taught us a lot of things. And then, that is our fortune. So thank you so much, Mr. Shibuya. And please, rest in peace. Thank you.
Daisy Rock Girl Guitars. And there would be no Girl Guitars without Mr. Shibuya, which is a funny thing to say, I think. I was working at Schecter and we started with a drawing of Daisy Rock. And Schecter was owned, as we all know, by Mr. Shibuya. So of course it was his money for us to actually promote this company. And so my husband, Michael, went over and talked to him and said, we have this idea of actually making guitars for girls. And I remember him saying, he thought it was very original and he was really excited that it was the first. And so he said, sure, go ahead, and gave us the green light. And that was in the year 2000. This is 25 years later. And then after we started the company, I was with Schecter for 3 years and I went to Alfred Music as a division of Alfred. But every NAMM show, he would show up with Mr. Shibuya and a whole entourage of beautiful women. And then he would want him to explain to him about how he really believed in this whole idea of girls should play guitar and that there should be more female musicians in the world, and how he really kind of helped me fund this idea, and that he was really into the whole prospect. So it was the highlight of my NAMM show was when Mr. Shibuya would show up and say, I helped you do this. And I always thought that's a really great guy. So that's my little bit of story about Shibuya. Thank you.
I'd like to stop by, and your place is one of the places you wanted to stop by. Thank you.
I think you liked our booth too with the booth girls.
We got pictures, but Ronnie actually took it out. So anyway, but that pictures was taken by at his, well, Mr. Sakoto said cabin in a good way, but it was shed, and he wanted to use that shed for his office, and no air conditioning, no heaters, but every time whoever wants to come to Mr. Shibuya, complain, raise, whatever, he said, come to me in the middle of the summer. That was a funny story. But anyway, any other people wanted to share memories of something? Sure.
Real quick. I did write something.
Oh.
Let me get my glasses on so I can read this. What does it say? Oh yeah, hello. My name is Paul, and I've been working here at Musicians Institute for over 20 years. I started when I was 11 years old. No, actually I was in my 30s, and in my time here at MI, I had the honor of meeting with Mr. Shibuya many, many times. And I did learn a lot, so much from his meetings with him. He was the boss, but he was also very much a mentor for me. And he was a believer in me. And this meant a lot to me. In all of our meetings, the greatest compliment that he ever gave to me was when he said that I reminded him of him when he was my age. And I was a lot younger back then. I'm extremely grateful for all the opportunities that Mr. Shibuya given me. And I would like to say that the greatest tribute that we can all give to his legacy is to continue to work as hard as we can, as smart as we can, and to make MI as successful as it could possibly be for as long as we can. So with that, I say thank you, Mr. Shibuya, for all that you've done for me and all that you've done for everyone. May you rest in peace. I will miss you, and you will be missed. Thank you.
I believe we have everyone who wanted to share the memories at this point. Right? Okay. So we'd like to conclude his memory of Mr. Shibuya's life and celebrate his legacy. And I'm sure we will all carry his word and wisdom gave us every one of us, and I will carry mine, and you will carry yours. And it's still hard to believe he's not around here to interpret. I was always with him and as an interpreter. And one time I went to check ESP, and Taki showed up. Where's Mr. Shibuya? So I was always, about half of his. But it's still hard to believe, it's gone. So, but he will be with us forever, anywhere we go. And I'm sure he's around here today, hopefully. But with that, thank you very much for coming, and we will see sometime soon in any other occasions. So thank you, appreciate it.